What is going on, guys? Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. I don't really care. Whatever the case, it is good. So praise the Lord for that. Today's video is one I've been kind of anticipating for a while, and that is my 2-month review on my Hoyt AlphaX 30. So I've been getting a lot of questions. The main question is, how does the Hoyt compare to a Matthews? Because I've shot Matthews for the last 4 years. So I'm going to be mainly answering questions, comparing them to the Matthews I've shot. I've shot the V3 and I've shot the Phase 4, so I haven't had just like all the past 4 years worth of Matthews bows, but I've got a pretty good representation. I'm not saying my advice is the best, and I know for a fact that I'm not always going to be right, so I'm just going to say this as a disclaimer. Some people are going to probably be annoyed at me or mad at me for what I could say about the Hoyt over Matthews, because yeah, I'm going to do my best to not be biased at all. This is just my honest opinion, and it's because I've shot Matthews for a few years. So, but don't get me wrong, I'm not got all bad things to say about a Hoyt. They're an amazing bow. So I want to first of all just go through and say my whole setup. So of course this is the Hoyt AlphaX 30. I've got the tombstone riser. I got the black custom Cameron Haynes keep hammering limbs. Got 80-pound mods. I've got a 10-inch stabilizer off the front and 8-inch on the back. I've got the whatever stands they're called. Not 100% sure. Got the all the Hoyts come with this 2-inch stabilizer. I had to take a vocabulary class. Can't talk. But 2-inch stabilizer off the front right here. I've got a QAD integrated rest. Love this thing. Like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. This thing is freaking fire. It tunes so fast. Get it perfectly set up. You can literally shoot a one-shot tune. It's amazing. And that's with a lot of the new bows as well, but just saying. I've got my HHA Tetra. I'm not sure if there's an X or an XT or something. This is a double stack single pin. So yeah, you're just moving it around. Loving that. I've got the 6-arrow. I don't know if this is the specific quiver. I'm still new to the Hoyt, so if I start naming off Matthews equipment, that's because I'm more used to that. So I'm sorry about that. So just as a little bit of a backstory, why I switched to Hoyt. Mainly because I had a lot of people saying, "Oh, you should try Hoyt, you should try Hoyt." And I was like, I'm more of a Matthews guy. But then my local bow shop started carrying Hoyts back in stock. So I went in there and decided to shoot it right next to a Matthews. Shot the RX-8, which that was way out of my price range, so I was not going to pay $1,800 for a bare bow. That was not happening. Which it was an amazing bow, not going to lie. But then I shot the AlphaX right next to it, and not going to lie, I like the AlphaX better anyway. So, shot it next to the lift, and I was leaning hard to the lift. I was going to get the lift. But then they're like, hey, we'll give you a little bit of a... They're also fans of the channel, so shout out to them. So if you're in Middle Tennessee or anywhere in Tennessee and you need a bow shop to run to, go to Outdoor Junction. Amazing. They're not just a bow shop, they're an outdoor shop in general. They have an indoor shooting range, gun range, sell a bunch of guns, fishing stuff. Just a good outdoor store. But their bow shop is awesome too. So they're able to help me out on getting this custom made. Just special ordered those, not necessarily custom made. So I special ordered off of Hoyt's website. And if you go back about 10 months ago, and I think it was December or November, I posted a short about how different bow guys stop deer. And I was very biased. I'm not going to be open about it. I was very biased. I'm still a Matthews guy. I was a Matthews guy then. So I was like, of course a Matthews guy can just go stop a deer like, meh, perfect. Boom, shoot it. Simple as that. Let me actually just roll the reel right now. Meh. Man. Bye. Hey, deer, stop. Deer. So in that reel, or not just reel, but YouTube short, I was kind of making fun of all these different bow brands. And I'm like, to be 100% honest, I've always liked Hoyt. I've always liked Matthews a little bit more, but Hoyt's an amazing bow. A lot of hunters that I love watching shoot them, Cameron Haynes mainly. Seek One used to be part of it. So there's a lot of influencing that made me decide to shoot a Hoyt this year. But also, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I've shot a bunch of different bows. I used to shoot a PSC, then I switched to Matthews, and now I'm shooting a Hoyt. And I don't want to be that guy that's over here like, oh, I hate that bow, I hate this bow, but I've never shot it. So that was one of my reasons for kind of being like, okay, I should shoot a Hoyt for at least a year and see what it's all about. Maybe I'll like it better. So I'm just going to keep talking. I've already run down the whole setup. I'm going to keep talking and shooting a little bit. But anyways, so first thing I can say about a Hoyt is it's an amazingly good shooting bow. Now, I'm a big fan of heavy bows. Don't ask me why. I think it's mainly because I can hold a lot more steady on a heavier bow setup, especially after at full draw. And the more weight I'm holding, which I know with 85% let off, I'm pulling 80 pounds. With 85% let off, your holding weight is only about 14, 15 pounds, I think. So, you know, it's not that crazy much, but the heavier bow, for some reason, I've always been able to hold steady a lot better. Now, granted, I suck at target shooting. I don't know what it is. I know there's a lot of people out there probably very similar, but I will say, I'm not trying to brag by saying this, but when it comes down to a hunting situation, now I know I had a couple goofs last year, humbled me, but I've somehow got lucky with actual real life hunting scenarios. I've been able to actually shoot pretty good, especially at longer ranges. I killed a deer a couple years ago. I didn't get it on film, unfortunately, but with my old V3 that I used to have, shot a doe at 73 yards, frontal shot, and I shot it, buried my arrow up to the fletching. So, I don't know, I've always been a fan of heavier bows after, and that was with my V3, so I'm just saying, that was a pretty light setup. I kind of went on the bare minimum of setups with that bow. Then I will switch to my Phase 4. Getting 2 stabilizers, guys, I'm telling you, is probably the most underrated thing out there, is having a rear stabilizer. I'm also a big fan of shooting without the quiver. So that's one kind of, I wouldn't say complaint, but I like the Matthews quivers a little bit more for this. They're a little bit more just simple. I don't know. This thing has a screw. It's a little bit, I don't know. It's a little bit harder for me to figure out. I'm a bit of a simple guy. But other than that, it's still an amazing setup. I love how tight it is to the riser. And still, it does not vibrate that much, so it's not that much extra added noise. So no complaints, except for it's just a little bit less easy as just literally rotating your bow off, or your quiver, sorry. And even on the Matthews 2-piece, I know it's still the same thing, is it's just you unclip it down here at the bottom, and it rotates off. So that would just be, that's just my personal preference. Could be different for everybody. So we're going to sling a few here at 60, and hopefully I can actually get a half decent group. So another thing I will say, from coming from shooting a Matthews for the last few years, is this is not quite as dead in the hands, and I know that has a lot to do with more aggressive limbs. And a lot of people say, of course, you can shoot heavier poundage with the Hoyt, and now that Matthews switched on the lift, that you can shoot 80 pounds on there too now. It could make a difference. But with the more aggressive limbs, and the limbs also being already kind of forward. So that's one thing I do like about Matthews, is they're going to be a little more dead in the hands due to the past parallel limbs. So they're going straight up instead of out. So that's just another personal preference. Also, the Hoyts are just a little bit louder. So for me, I'm more of a person, I'll sacrifice speed over noise. Some people probably say that's crazy. I'm willing to shoot a 280 feet per second bow, if it's going to be stupid quiet over shooting maybe a 300 feet per second bow, that's loud. I'd rather so out to from the ranges of 35 yards to about 60 yards is your biggest margin for error for a deer to hear your bow go off and hear the arrow coming. So I know some people would say if you can beat the deer to the jump, it doesn't matter how loud your bow is, which is in some cases true, but a deer's going to move, and those things move a lot. I experienced that last year like crazy. And that shot was only a 40-yard shot that I shot on a doe, and this deer moved over probably about a foot in 40 yards. And so even then, that was with my phase 4, so that's still an amazingly quiet bow. But that just goes to show how much a deer can move, even if you're shooting slightly bit faster. Now, another thing is, I know this is probably going to be the thing that gets the most people annoyed, is I'm not a big fan of the draw cycle on the Hoyt. Don't know why. Everybody says it's smoother. I shot AlphaX right next to a lift, and I personally felt that the lift was still a smoother draw cycle. The back wall is a little bit more solid, but that could literally just be me, so don't take my word for it. Go into your local bow shops, wherever you may be, and I encourage you, don't go into a bow shop knowing, oh, I'm going to go buy this bow. Go in there with an open mind and say, hey, I may come out of here with a Darton, I may come out of here with Elite, I may come out here with a Hoyt or Matthews or Bowtech or PSE. I don't care what it is, but go in there with an open mind and be open to shoot all the bows and get the one that feels the best to you. Because at the end of the day, everybody's going to be a little bit different, and so that's the biggest thing. Just find the bow that fits you. So, with that even being said, still, I love this bow. It shoots amazing, and I have yet to shoot this thing for a full deer season. And so there could be some, like, as of now, just target shooting, I'm just more of a fan of the Matthews. But when it comes to a hunting situation, I may like this thing better. I have yet to be climbing around in trees with it. I have yet to be putting on stalks with it. Sorry, I'm getting the hiccups. I've yet to be putting on stocks with it, and just a bunch of different scenarios that I've not 100% experienced yet with this bow, so I can't wait to experience them. Hopefully I get to experience them all this year. But anyways, so as I said, it's not for me. I'm willing to sacrifice speed for quietness, and most of the time with quietness comes a more dead in the hand bow. So that's one thing Matthews is also just taking over the game in a way with the integrated rest and the dovetail sights, the dovetail or not dovetail, sorry, just the bridge lock stabilizers, everything. They've made an extremely quiet bow, but needless to say, guys, don't take my word for it all the time. They're still both amazing bows. These are the top of the game. So just because I'm saying I still prefer a Matthews does not mean you have to go get a Matthews. They're an amazing bow. But they're all they're the top of the game. I mean, you look at it in the hunting industry, it's almost an even split if you're thinking of just based on influencers using what bow. So, I mean, Cameron Haynes been with Hoyt for, I think, as long as he's been hunting or been on social media. You look at bone collectors, you look at the guys from Realtree. For the most part, I think David Bland still shoots a Matthews, but look at them. And then you switch over to the Matthews side, you've got Seek One, I guess. You've got Lee Lukoski, you've got the Drurys. And I know there's more on each side, but there's a reason these guys shoot them. They're the top of the game. They're the best that are made. So there's nothing wrong with either of them. But I'm just speaking from my experience, so hopefully nobody's too crazy offended at me. But I'm just speaking from my experience that, this is an amazing bow. But I'm still just leaning towards Matthews. And I don't know, going into next year, I may not be shooting Matthews or Hoyt. I may be shooting something totally different. I may go shoot a bunch of new bows that all shoot, maybe, to me, they may be better. So I'm like trying to say this with an open mind, to not trying to get on people's nerves here by just saying that Matthews is better. I'm not saying that at all. It's just, it depends on feel, and I know I keep repeating myself. I'm sorry. It's a little bit too early for this. But yeah. So, that's just kind of my thoughts. I know I only shot like 6 arrows. I don't think I even shot a great group, so I'm not even going to bother going down there to look at it. Yeah, it's a trashy group. So, just going to say it. But, so, that's just my rundown, guys. I'm just trying to be 100% honest here. I'm not trying to be biased. I know I probably sounded it. I'm sorry. But, yeah. So, that's my 2-month review on this. Still got a whole deer season yet, so can't wait for that. We're right at the end of July, so we've got another month and a half till deer season. So, it's gonna be head to the ground as soon as deer season gets here. So, can't wait. Go out there, shoot your bows, get some reps in, and just get out in nature. God's given us this entire, how is it that Phil Robertson said? God's given us this whole planet to live on. So go out there and use it, So go out there, just spend time in the woods. It's time that you'll never get back, and it's the best. But for me, that's the best time out there. I know a lot of people have said it. The woods is their church. And I'm not trying to preach it to you guys, but it's just the way it is. Go find you a place that you experience God on another level, and do it with people you love. You'll never regret it. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. What's your thoughts? Drop them down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about this bow, or shoot. Also, guys, this is something I'd like to talk about in another video maybe, but it's been on my mind a lot lately. I don't want to be using my social media platforms. I don't want to be using YouTube, my Instagram, everywhere I post. I don't want to be using God for my social media. I want to be using my social media for God. So don't be afraid, guys, to go freaking turn my comment section into a Bible study. I would love that. Ask me questions. If you have Instagram, directly, just send me a DM if you have some questions about, if you have issues with me that maybe I'm not portraying the love of Christ the way I should be as a Christian. Guys, seriously, don't be afraid to. I'm not better than you guys. I know I don't have a crazy big following, but if you're ever somebody that sees me out in public, come talk to me. I'm no better than you just because I make YouTube videos. I'm doing this because I like it. I love doing this. So, don't be afraid to message me. I will respond to every DM you guys send me. I promise you. I try to respond to every comment. Just don't be afraid to interact. I love you guys as viewers, and I really appreciate all the support. So, once again, thank you guys for watching. I know this is a little bit long-winded, but thank you for watching. God bless you all. We'll see you guys in the next one.